Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Friday's episode of SpyCurious. Mike is there in the background, and he's let the pretty ladies take center stage for the beginning of today's episode. Today, I have Kat with me. How are you, Kat?
Good. How are you, Casey?
I'm fantastic. Thank you so much for joining us. Kat is an investigator from Grant Thornton, which is one of the largest independent accounting and consulting member firms in the world, and their headquarters is certainly something to behold, that building itself. It's a huge firm, and it's an incredible opportunity that we have Kat on the show today and have a bit of a talk to her about the investigations that she undertakes for them. So, Kat, what is your role as an investigator at Grant Thornton?
Thanks for having me. My role at Grant Thornton, I'm the partner of risk consulting in Melbourne. So my practice includes investigations, financial crime work, internal audit, risk management, and compliance audits, and all of those things somehow wonderfully weave together into really interesting day-to-day work. My role really is, as the partner, is to lead and help the team scope the work, work with the team to review the evidence and the facts identified, work with the client to update them, let them know what's happening, what we're seeing, and other avenues of investigation or further exploration if that comes up.
Yeah, okay, fantastic. And what qualifications do you have to have the role that you have?
Well, I started off in external audit. So, of course, as part of that, I had to do my chartered accountancy. So I'm a chartered accountant. I did my certified fraud exam when I was on mat leave because I wasn't sleeping anyway. I also hold a Cert 3 and Cert 4 and a diploma in investigations through the Security Academy.
Okay. And so did you fall into this role? Were you already working at Grant Thornton, or did you decide you wanted to become an investigator? How did that happen?
I don't think I ever planned to be an investigator. It wasn't like a sort of lifelong dream. I actually wanted to be a coroner when I was little, and then I realized blood wasn't my thing, and poking around dead bodies also wasn't going to be my thing. So I started as an accountant, as an auditor, and the firm I was working for at the time, their audit partner also did a lot of forensic accounting work, which kind of led me into an exercise where I did some secret shopping for a client. So that was really interesting. That triggered my interest in investigations. I then moved to other organizations where I did pieces of those sorts of work and really went to focus on it in a professional service firm later on, and have continued since at Grant Thornton. So I kind of fell into it and more out of curiosity and, I wonder where that pulling that string will lead me next. So yeah,
absolutely. And when you talk about risk when it comes to your role, what kind of risk are we talking about? I know we're talking about financial broadly, but can you get down into that a bit more for me?
Sure. So when we do any internal audit work or investigation, it's really looking at a breakdown of controls, or how could something be broken, and that's really at the crux of what we look for. So even when we're doing, for example, internal audit review, we look at a process and say, how do we break this? And that comes into that fraud prevention mindset. And as investigators, what's fascinating is you look at how somebody has broken something, in essence. And from a remediation perspective, after an investigation, we quite often give clients recommendations around, well, how do you fix something so that it doesn't happen again, or for something else or similar to occur in the organization. Looking at how to fix and patch and how to break something.
Yeah, you put it so well. Thank you for that. Is there any interesting job or experience that really stands out for you that you've done?
I've worked on some really interesting stuff, from cashiers doing funny things like swapping coins or denomination of coins, and trying to figure out, well, hang on, why they're depositing small amounts into the account, and what are they actually doing? And it wasn't actually anything suspicious. They ended up trying to just have the right set of change for the next day. So, you know, something that sounds really unusual and odd, and when you look at it and you explain to them from another perspective, you can see why that's odd to, you know, the organization. They go, oh yeah, that sounds kind of suspect, but I wasn't doing it on purpose. So interesting cases like that through to recently I was at the Royal Commission for Crown, and that was a really interesting experience. We did some data analysis over bank transactions, and I was there to give evidence.
Yeah, that's amazing. I was reading about it and it said that there was red flags going back to 2014. So how do you kind of dissect a case that's so large and been going over so many years?
With a lot of patience and methodical. And I think that's a big part of investigative work. It's being thorough, methodical, and taking the time to make sure all the steps and all the analysis is done so you have a solid outcome at the end of it.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And how did you find being a witness?
Really, really scary. Quite an intimidating experience, and particularly because I've not done that before. So yeah, it was, and I had some really good help in terms of preparing me. I worked with a lawyer, and it was daunting.
Yeah, I can imagine. And were you cross-examined?
Very briefly.
Yeah. And how was that process? Was it as scary as they say, or were they quite nice about it?
They were okay, actually. There wasn't a lot that they wanted to clarify or ask, so I feel pretty lucky in that sense.
Oh, that's great. You must have been very clear and concise then.
Yeah, sticking to the facts. That's the main thing.
Yeah, not giving your opinion, even though you probably asked for it at that stage.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, that is fantastic. And as some people may have noticed, I'm not in my usual Black Friday getup. I'm wearing a frock for Frocktober, which I didn't know existed until I saw Kat doing it. Kat, did you want to explain a little bit about Frocktober and what it is?
Sure. Well, Frocktober happens in the month of October, and it's to raise funds for ovarian cancer research. Ovarian cancer is one of those silent killers, and apparently the testing for it hasn't evolved since 1992. I don't know about you, but my wardrobe has extensively evolved since 1992. That's a really long time ago. So I think it's a really important cause to support. It's one of those cancers where if there was an early detection test, maybe the survival rate will be better. But as it stands, without that, it's the diagnosis is quite grim for a lot of people, so a lot of women. So yeah, again, really important cause to get behind.
Yeah, absolutely. That is so fantastic. And I really enjoyed watching your different frocks, and hey, getting to wear a dress on the stream today has been fun as well. So I believe Mike is going to do the wheel to see if we can get you a donation for Frocktober.
That's awesome.
Well, we're going to try. So, but first of all, I've got to explain, Kat, you can win some incredible prizes on the wheel today. So no matter what happens, what comes up, whether you win the donation or not, and what we've got up for grabs is a $500 donation that will make it the Australian Security Academy if that comes up on the wheel. So that's one of the prizes that's on there. If it spins randomly and you win it, I will pay it over the next 20 years at $1 a week. No, I won't. I will. Casey will twist my arm, and she's in charge of finances anyway. But other things you could win today, Kat, you could win a private investigator coffee mug, which is really something that's going to impress all your friends at work because you've got that. You might win a private investigator key ring. Now, the important thing, if you do win this and you are captured by the enemy, you've got to swallow it. Okay, so keep that in mind. Or you could win a private investigator bottle opener. But best of all, you may win, for the people that wanted to be a coroner when they grew up, you might win a private investigator evidence bag. Now, it's 100% cotton, so blood washes straight out. So when you're collecting your evidence and you're carrying it around it's the only reusable evidence bag in the universe. I invented it, and you could possibly win that today, Kath. You are just so excited, aren't you?
I can see that evidence bag will transform into a top or maybe a mini skirt.
Well, maybe you get a day's wear out of that. Right? But look, at St Kilda Beach this year in Melbourne, you are going to be the most accessorised person there if you actually win this. So keep that in mind. You could also win a private investigator cap. Now, it's brown because it's camouflaged, right? We don't want high visibility caps out there if you're on surveillance and you're walking around with your SpyCurious cap on. Are you with me there, Kat? Okay, so there's some amazing, absolutely amazing prizes here that you can win, which, I mean, the mug's probably valued at $20. The evidence bag, look, that's priceless. So there's a great range of things that you could possibly win. So what you've got to ask yourself, Kat, is, do I feel lucky?
I'm wearing red, so I should be.
Okay,
right?
all right. So we'll go in and we'll give it a spin. Kat could possibly win $500 for her very worthy cause. I'm not taking that lightly. She could possibly win that, or she'd dud out and win a bottle opener. Let's see what we can do. Oh, wow. Wow, look out. You won it. Well done.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Casey, get in touch with the tax office and tell them I'm going to be late paying tax next month. Oh, that's fantastic. Well done, Kat. I will be jumping on Kat's page for Frocktober. Here it is. And I will be making a donation to that. If you'd like to support Kat's cause, in our comment section, you'll be able to see a link to this very page where you can do that. We've had a comment. Hang on. Renee says, congratulations, Kat, so well done. That's our Executive Vice President's come out of the woodwork there and congratulated you on that. So you're impressing the people at the top today, Kat. So well done. That's really good. You might like to come back in 2 weeks' time and tell us what happened, and we'll probably give you an evidence bag for that as a result of your effort. But look, it's a major effort. You are dressing up every day for 31 days. You've got to coordinate your wardrobe, get someone to take a photo of you to prove that how hard's that?
The photo actually has been fun because my boys, husband included, take turns doing it.
Okay, all right.
And they've gotten quite creative about it.
Okay, and they stage all the dogs for you, or do you do that yourself?
No, the dogs just come and go as they please.
So that's not staged. That's just what happens.
Pure love.
Well, look, absolutely fantastic cause, and Kath, you've been a great supporter of the Australian Security Academy over many years. And look, we really appreciate your support. I'm glad you won that today. That's just fantastic. Well done.
Thank you.
I'll be back to you. I'll be back to you with Kat towards the end of the show. Sorry to be rude. I'll just remove you for one moment and get our proper thing there.
That was incredibly interesting.
Yeah, my word. Yes.
What she does at Grant Thornton, yeah. And
if you get off that lightly. If you get off that lightly on cross-examination, they don't want to talk to you. So that's what's going on there. So well done, Kat. So this week, people, in private investigation news, what's been happening around the place? So talking about casinos up in Brisbane, the Queensland Casino Authority investigating Star Casino in Brisbane over allegations of money laundering up there. So that's come out this week. So something to watch in the news. And DJ from over in Los Angeles at the moment, who's talking to the FBI this week, he's just said hi to everybody. Las Vegas, sorry, my apologies. Technical issue there. So Star Casino got themselves in trouble. The Dreamworld owners are suing the engineer who they say declared the ride safe the night before 4 people were killed in Dreamworld in that tragic accident in 2016. So that's happened this week. I've got to remove this so I can see.
It's been a very long process, and I can imagine that the investigation into that would have been
Well,
very
there'd be investigators for both sides of each fatality. So there's 8 investigators already, and then you get into the technical side of it. That's a very, very long, drawn-out investigation, as is any fatality, and so it should be too.
horribly sad accident. That was terrible.
Yeah, it was absolutely tragic, that one. I'm just trying to find, sorry. This is a beauty. This is very topical, and it came up in America. Okay, it's an American example, but it happens here, and Kat's done a lot of these. So this is what happened. So a man has faked his death in the pandemic relief scam, has been jailed. So he went and claimed all this money to get pandemic relief for his businesses that didn't exist, and for his employees' pay that never happened, and he faked his own death to hide from authorities. Now, that's an American example, but people, I have done 7 of those investigations in Australia. It's a really common investigation. It's so common, they have a name for it. And when people do it, it's usually that Good Friday Eve that they do it, so their financial crime is not discovered until Easter Tuesday. Let's have a look at it. So there it is, Pesudocide, the fake exit of accountants globally. So that happened in America this week. It happens in Australia as well. So you may one day end up doing investigations of that. Now, our jobs for this week, you know, to go to our Australian Private Investigator Corporate and Government Investigations job page. That's where I put up 30% of the available jobs in private, corporate and government investigations each week. So it's a no-brainer. If you're looking for a job or something with more money, that sort of thing, go to that jobs page, ask me to join it, and I will join you in it. So that's what's happening. We've got an assistant investigator at the Department of Premier and Cabinet in Sydney. So you're going to need a certificate for in government investigations, and they want to pay you $81,000. Procare Group are looking for a investigations manager down in Melbourne. Good old Procare, love Procare, nationwide investigation agency, great place to work. Case manager for investigations is required by Precise Investigations down in Melbourne, so you're going to have to be a licensed investigator for that one, just like you would be for that job at Procare. You'll need to be a licensed private investigator. Quantum Corp are seeking technical writers for factual investigation reports in Sydney. Now, again, you're going to have to be a licensed investigator for that job. Now here, Steve is screaming for private investigators, licensed private investigators, factual ones in Tasmania and New South Wales. Get in touch with Steve, his name and numbers there. Part of the job application test is if you can pronounce his last name, which is simply Castricios. Don't tell him I told you. So if you're struggling with that, just say Steve, and don't call him Mr. Castricios if you can't say it, okay? But Steve's got work for you as a licensed private investigator in New South Wales and Tasmania. In fact, get in touch with him, call him on that number, and you'll probably be starting early next week. Steve's been established for over 25 years. And he has a great investigation agency, so get in touch with him. If you missed that and you can't remember his phone number, replay this tomorrow morning or jump on our YouTube channel. The replay will be there and you can get Steve's number from that. You must be a licensed factual investigator. Steve wants to hear from you. This one's up in Logan in Brisbane, and it's Life Without Barriers. They want a permanent workplace investigator there for various reasons. As with the Hain inquiry, you can read all about that on Seek. Great little job down in an investigator at the Victorian Institute of Teaching. I can tell you some great stories about that. So that's down in Melbourne at the moment. That's a government investigation position you'll need a certificate for in government investigations. This is a beauty. This is how you get revenge on all those people that are currently spamming your phone or spamming your email or spamming your Facebook. So you go and work for the Australian Communications Media Authority and you are the anti-spam people and you go after them and you'll get paid $81,762 a year plus superannuation working for the federal government. Now that job is down in Melbourne, Victoria. That's where their headquarters is, and they're a great team to work for at the ACMA, and you'll need a certificate for in government investigation for that job. Now here's one with the, it's not a job vacancy, but the Victorian Ombudsman has been issuing newsletters on LinkedIn about the results of its investigations. Now, this is the way they communicate to ratepayers in councils where people suspect their councils are corrupt and there's been an investigation or whatever. So the Ombudsman's been doing that. Now, that's a big step for an Ombudsman. They're usually so demure and closed. They don't tell you that. Don't forget, it's traditional in this program. Whenever we mention the Ombudsman, yeah, so if you're a crook and you have that Ombudsman coming, it's time to hide. So that's some of the job vacancies that are available this week. You can watch the replay on Facebook, on LinkedIn later on, and you can watch it over on YouTube tomorrow. Big turn up in Queensland this week is two of the top investigation agencies, the larger ones in Queensland, have instructed all their subcontractors to be double vaccinated. Now, they're surveillance operatives and they don't go into the office and they don't interact with anyone. They sit in their car all day, every day. So these two big investigation agencies in Queensland, where there's no real COVID issues at the moment, I'm sure they're coming, but there's none there at the moment, have instructed all subcontractors to become vaccinated. Now, I'm not seeing that out of Melbourne and I'm not seeing that out of Sydney. I've only seen it in Queensland. So that's a pretty big call. That they're doing that, and they're saying that if you don't do it, you are not going to get any work from them. So that's a big breaking news issue this week. Earlier on this week, we had for our people our standard operating procedures for investigation firms. If you are going to become an investigation firm in Victoria or get a master license in New South Wales or a security licence business in Queensland. So if you're an Australian Security Academy graduate student and you want those SOPs, you must become a member of AirLAP. AirLAP membership is free. Join AirLAP and I'll send you 50 standard operating procedures for investigation firms. Now, in those standard operating procedures, there's about infection prevention and use of radios and surveillance and what to do if someone's aware of you following them. That's called dry cleaning in surveillance, and briefings and all that sort of thing. So you're doing this so the Victorian Police will give you, if you apply for it, a Victorian investigation firm licence, just like Grant Thornton has. They have one. So what you've got to look at is the police don't understand what investigators do. For example, in policing, A briefing today in policing is done in a luxury air-conditioned facility with 5-star service and lattes and pastries. So that's how briefings go. Or for the vaccinated, you get Maccas and non-soy lattes, but that's how a police briefing goes. In the real world of investigations, a briefing is done at 3:30 in the morning in an alleyway on your way to the actual job. That's the real world. The police don't understand this, so we've got standard operating procedures for policing and all that sort of thing. Police, they understand, this is what they understand. They understand elements of the offence. That's what drummed into them at the police academy over 40 weeks. They don't know what we do as private investigators, but they want you to get those SOPs for your business firm. I've written them for you. They're free. They don't cost anything. They're customizable. You can put your logo on it. You can change them. I even did a presentation this week on it. They're so standard that I was talking about one SOP and I was showing a video of another one. It didn't matter, because it's standard operating procedures. So that makes it standard across the board. And they're all linked to the elements of competency that are important, and they're all customizable to your workplace. So get in touch with me and ask me for those standard operating procedures and I will provide them for you. So people, that's really all I've got to do this week with SpyCurious. I'll just bring back our proper thing. It's been really great having Kath coming in and talking about the cause she's supporting this year, Frocktober. 31 days with 31 frocks. Can Kath go the full distance, or will she fall over towards the finish line? You reckon you're going to make it, Kath?
Well, we're halfway, right? So
yeah.
You know, pretty close.
And so we can get on LinkedIn and see on your profile. That's where you update the pictures and keep us all informed.
Yes, I do weekly recaps.
Yep. Great stuff. Very good. No, that's excellent. I was so surprised when I saw it. I thought, that is not the Kath I know. No, that's not the out there mad wild thing. That out there mad wild thing that she's doing, it just did not associate with Kath. And you must be so far out of your comfort zone, but great experience.
Absolutely is. And I'm more the type to sit in the back of the classroom and please don't call my name kind of. Very uncomfortable.
But those people are the best investigators, because they listen, they take it in, and they know what they're going to do next. And we really appreciate the hints and tips that you gave Casey during that program. And thanks for coming on. We might get you back, if you wouldn't mind, in a couple of weeks' time, just to let us know what you raised and how it all went. Is that okay with you?
Yeah, I would love to. Fantastic.
All right. And I'll try and get the times right.
You should now
I should now, yeah. Disappointing thing, people, is this didn't go live to LinkedIn, so I'm going to replay it on LinkedIn this afternoon. It will go up around about 3 o'clock Queensland time. So unfortunately, when we started, it didn't happen, just wouldn't do it. That's okay. But, that's live. That's what happens. But we've got the replay, and that will go on LinkedIn so people can see it. That's the end of our show, people. This is how we finish each week. It's a tradition.
작전 종료. 전원 복귀할 것.
Every Friday afternoon at every accounting advisory, every investigation agency, every corporate government department, they say mission complete, return home. They say that at Grant Thornton, don't they?
Yeah. It might be quite late on a Friday night, though.
Yeah. They say, put more work in your briefcase and take it home. Keep working. The Star Casino, we've got to go there. Will you volunteer to go to Brisbane and do the Star Casino one if it comes up, Kat?
I can't tell. I'm in Melbourne.
Yeah, well, that's true. Yeah, that's true. It might change. You never know. They might stretch it out for a few years. Yeah. But people, thanks for watching. Thanks for coming in. I'm Mike. We've been Kath Shamai and Casey Pine. We'll see you again next Friday at 2 o'clock on SpyCurious. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.